I checked into the hotel at midnight. The receptionist barely looked up as I approached the front desk. He slid an old brass key across the counter. Room 306. His voice was flat, almost distant. As I reached for the key, I noticed his fingers trembled slightly. "Everything okay?" I asked. He hesitated for a second before forcing a small smile. "Just don't leave your room after midnight." I frowned. Why? But he had already turned away. I shrugged it off and made my way to the elevator. The hallway on the third floor felt wrong the moment I stepped out. The air was stale, heavy, like no one had opened a window in years. The lights flickered slightly, buzzing faintly overhead. I walked down the long, narrow corridor, my footsteps echoing a little too loudly. That's when I noticed something strange. My footsteps weren't the only ones. I stopped. The sound continued for just a second longer before fading into silence. I turned around. The hallway was empty. Just doors lining both sides, all closed, all identical. Shaking off the creeping unease, I hurried to room 306. Inside, the room looked normal enough. A bed, a desk, a small TV on the dresser, but something immediately caught my attention. Across from the bed was another door. It was tall, completely black, with no handle, no keyhole. A second door? I dropped my bag on the bed and walked over to it. I knocked. Solid. No response. Maybe it was a closet. I pushed against it. Locked. Something about it made my skin crawl, but I was exhausted. I climbed into bed and switched off the light. The room sank into silence. And then I heard it. A faint scratching sound coming from inside that door. I turned over, my heart hammering. I must have imagined it. The hotel was old. Maybe the pipes were acting up. I pulled a blanket over me, squeezed my eyes shut. Then I heard the click of a lock. A cold wave of fear crawled up my spine. My breath hitched as I turned toward the black door. It was open, just a crack. A thin sliver of pitch-black nothingness stretched beyond it. The darkness felt wrong, too deep, like it was swallowing all the light. I couldn't move. My body was frozen in place, trapped between terror and disbelief. And then something stepped out. It was me. No, not me. It looked like me. Same clothes, same face, but its eyes were empty. Just two black holes swallowing the light. It tilted its head and smiled. A twisted, impossible grin that stretched too wide. "You left me behind," it whispered. I lunged for the lamp and switched it on. The moment light flooded the room, it was gone. The black door, sealed shut, like it had never been open. I didn't sleep after that. As soon as the sun rose, I grabbed my bag and rushed downstairs. The receptionist was still there. I slammed the key on the counter. "What the hell is in room 306? His face paled. You stayed there?" I nodded, my hand shaking. "That black door. Something came out of it. It looked like me." The receptionist's lips parted slightly. His expression a mixture of horror and regret. Then, in a barely audible whisper, he said, "Room 306 doesn't have a second door.